Hi there everyone, welcome to our virtual Fèis Ìle day. You just had the whiskies at midday there, hopefully you've enjoyed the tasting. We're now on to the tour of the distillery. On the farm with Islay is the first step, and you can swipe on the screen with our 360-degree cameras, both in my hand here and up above us will be a drone following us as we take a tour of the farm. But Instagram, unfortunately, you can't have full control, so we're dictating a little bit of what you see. But on Facebook, Instagram, free reign, look up, down, left, right, all over the place to see what you fancy. But Islay will now take us on a little tour of the farm. Where are we at the moment?
Just now we're on the Warren. This is an important area for us. This is where we graze cattle, both in summer and the winter. This is a very dry area with lush grass. We've got a thin area of soil covered in sand, as you see from the exposed areas behind us. And we have cattle here summer and winter. It's an important area for juvenile chough, which is a rare bird found in the west coast of Scotland. So we try and keep cattle on the area which helps provide habitat for the chough. But behind us you can see the beautiful Machir Bay. Behind that is the Atlantic Ocean, and then behind that is America and Canada. There's a few places to point out from here. Some of the names you might recognise. So behind us is Cool Point. If we come round further, we have Salago Bay, and then Sannig is over in that direction. We've obviously got the church behind us and the distilleries behind that, and obviously Machir Bay is named after, well, the bottle's named after Machir Bay, which is just behind us. But we're going to have a quick whistle-stop tour of the farm. We'll show you some of the barley fields and some other places you would get to see every day.
Great, let's have a look. So off on the farm now. How big is the farm at Kilhome?
The farm is in total is about 2,300 acres.
Yeah, and that's not all sort of barley growing land.
No, I wish it was. We have about barley grown land. We've probably got about 300-400 acres of ploughable ground that we could grow barley on. We've got down in the Warren here is about 220 acres, and the rest is hill. So it's scrubby hill, heather and stuff, which is great for grazing cattle in the winter and stuff, yeah. But unfortunately not very good for growing barley on.
No. And what we're growing, I mean, each year varies slightly, but what do we aim roughly this year for growing barley?
Well, we've planted about 110 acres, 115 acres of barley this year. So we've got two varieties. So we've got Sassy, we've got about 15 acres of Sassy planted, and the rest is Concerto. So there's about 100 acres of Concerto.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, changed a bit over the years. I mean, we're hovered about the same, but we've tried to increase the amount of barley we grow now.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a programme on. We're looking to increase the percentage of our own barley that we distill.
Yeah.
So we're we've got a drainage programme ongoing, where we look to drain out some of the fields in order that we can get onto them later in the year to get the barley harvested off them, so we can just get the combine on them. Yeah. Late August, early September time. So we're putting out a lot of money into drains and stuff just to improve the quality of the fields.
And I guess to give people an idea, maybe up above us with the drone now, so we're on the sort of, I guess, the less barley side of the farm, and this is where we keep sheep, cattle.
Yeah. So if you look to our left as we are sitting, that's the Warren, obviously, and then on our right hand side is the Glen. It's another area of grazing. It's really a continuation of the Warren, and then over behind that is the start of the better ground where we grow the bulk of the barley, all the barley in fact. Yeah,
and some people might be coming up to some rugby posts shortly, and what is the idea behind that? Why do we have rugby posts sitting in the middle of a barley field?
Well, to be honest, it's really a sales and marketing thing, because I wouldn't have barley posts. I wouldn't have rugby posts in the middle of a barley field. The rugby posts are actually situated where the Islay Rugby Club first played its first game of rugby. And if you keep an eye out later in the year on our social media pages, you'll find out that Mr. Wells has got a wee project ongoing that could potentially be very exciting. But keep an eye out, and we'll see how that develops, and hopefully we'll not hit them with a combine.
No, and they're just on our left as we come up now. Yeah. If you can see them. But as for some people who are interested in, I guess, the whiskey side of things from the barley. How much whiskey are we getting from our barley fields at the moment?
Well, it depends
Roughly
on the harvest.
speaking, yes.
Roughly speaking, we would like to get 2 tons an acre of barley. So by the time we've dried that down, we'll end up with 1.5 tons to 1.75 tons. And we're looking for a yield of about 380 litres of alcohol as a minimum. So that's roughly what we get per acre.
And each year we don't grow in the same field. So for instance, we've got barley in the left at the moment, on the right with sheep, and are they swapping every year or
we do work a rotation. So the reason for the rotation is we keep the nutrients in the soil, so we can provide best soil health in order that the plant can get the nutrients that it needs to grow. So we've got a rotation, maybe 3, possibly 4 years, and we soil sample the fields every year to check their health before we make final decisions about which fields are growing barley and which fields aren't growing barley in a particular year. Yeah,
and just for those up above us with the drone at the moment, we've got the Loch Gorm on our left as we turn down towards the distillery now, so you might be familiar with that release if you've had that one before, but we're just going to turn up the drive at the moment, and I guess this is the entrance to the distillery, and I guess for those looking here, we've got a dam up behind on the hill as well, don't we?
That's for the process. That's for the distillation process. We've just got a lorry coming out, so we just need to sit and wait in the lorry for a wee second, because unfortunately we're both not fit in that road.
Perfect. Right then, so we're heading into this field here, and what have we got in here? What barley are we growing?
In here we're growing 2 varieties of barley. So at the far side we've got Sassy, and if you're above you'll see a split in the field where it's brown earth, and on this side we've got Concerto. So we're growing 2 varieties in barley. They were both planted on the same day, and we'll see how they compare.
Yeah. And what is, I guess, the reason for growing 2 types of barley in one field, or 2 types of barley at all?
So the real reason that we're growing 2 types of barley is because Concerto's come to the end of its commercial life, so we're looking for a replacement for Concerto. So we're looking for 2 things mainly. So we're looking for something that will grow on Islay and will give us a reasonable yield of barley, but most importantly your dad's looking for something that gives him the characters that he's looking for off the still. So he's looking for a sweet, fruity spirit coming off the still. So that's the spirit still stage is basically down to what would grown in the fields.
And although I think he's going to take over talking about that one later, but that's a big driving force for what we grow now, isn't it? Is the flavour and character that we get.
So it's not all about the yields, although yields are important. It's more about what we can put in cask. We want to put the best spirit we possibly can and the best cask that we possibly can.
And this grass type barley at the moment will eventually grow into what you got in your hand here. And this is last year's.
Yeah, so this barley was planted about around about the 20th April, and it's maybe not as far on as we would like it to be. We had a very dry spring, and we've had a couple of showers recently, which has been great. It's helped it come along, but the wind's been cold, so it's not had much heat in it, so it's maybe just not as far on as I would like to see it. But it's doing okay, and it's good Scottish barley, so it'll stand the weather, and it'll come, and we'll get it at the end of the year. But this is last year's Concerto crop. As you can see, this is what it turns into. The important bit for the distillery is obviously the head and the grains that we'll collect, and we're looking for 2 tons an acre. So out of this field, which is we plant roughly about 4 acres in here, we'd be hoping to get about 8 tons of barley.
And what's the main difference between, I guess, growing barley on an island on the west coast of Scotland to somewhere else on the mainland in the UK?
Our main difference is wind, which we have today, although it's a nice day, and also we have our climate's a lot wetter, so we've got all that weather that rattles in from straight off the Atlantic Ocean, so we've got wet and windy weather. When the barley comes to the ripening stage, if the head gets heavy with rain and we get wind, we lose an awful lot of the grain. So the yields are down. We don't have the same yields as they do, so it's not as commercially viable, but that's not the reason that we do it. And also just the weather's damp, so it's just not as dry a climate, as warm a climate, but we still get it. We struggle on.
And over the years we've grown different types of barley. I mean, what are the main differences? Come on, the bloody dog.
Whose dog's this? Nice, random dog.
Oh, that was going so well.
Random dog.
Well, what were we talking about? We're talking about why do we grow different varieties? Yeah, so why do we grow different varieties?
So what we're looking for is a replacement for Concerto. Concerto's coming to the end of its commercial life, so we're looking for something to replace that.
Yeah, okay, great. And it's not just barley we got on the farm. They might notice, if you're watching there, if you look back at the distillery in the opposite us, you'll be able to see the cattle sheds that are going up in the background. So we've got cattle, sheep on the farm as well.
Yeah. So we've got about 24, 25 Aberdeen Angus cows, and we've also got about 520 breeding ewes. If you look to our right, you'll see we've got the sheep in the fields at the moment. The reason they're in the fields is because they're just recently lambed. So we've fertilised the grass in order to bring the grass on, so the ewes have plenty of milk for the lambs. So all in all, there'll be 1,200 sheep over on that side of the farm at the minute grazing.
Yeah, and the water we use on site, that comes from the hill again behind us, sorry, not behind us, in front of us in the distance on the hill there.
Yeah, so the water flows through the glen and through down to the distillery where it's pumped up and into the process. They'll use it for the process.
Perfect. Well, I think we've covered most things there, but if we have missed anything off, or you've got all the questions that you've hopefully been sending in through the 3D video here, I'll be waiting for them for a Q&A. We're going live just after this.
Good. We look forward to seeing you.
Cheers.